Hey, we're live. I'm Alexa Zepp, joined by Maddy Playle and Ren Carothers for this Dubai World Cup preview show presented by NYRA Bets. Super glad to be here. Ren, Maddy, how you feeling?
Awesome. I mean, a little bit of FOMO in terms of seeing the races in person, but this is great that we're able to come together and still celebrate the 30th edition of the Dubai World Cup. How awesome.
Yeah, so well said. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be an amazing night.
Really
I'm so glad to work. I've never gotten to work with Maddy before.
Oh my God, Maddy, Ren, welcome.
I know.
You're two incredible women in the sport. So this is history being made in real time.
That's right.
No, I do want to say originally we did hope to be there in Dubai. I know Maddy and I both have coworkers out there. With the situation going on, we aren't able to make it out there, but we are thinking about everyone, hoping everyone is safe heading into this weekend. But the show is going on with Dubai World Cup. So we're here to preview 4 races. We're going to look at the UAE Derby, the Dubai Golden Shaheen, the Longines Dubai Sheema Classic, and of course, the Dubai World Cup. We're also stacked with awesome guests who are somehow tied to this event. So there's a lot going on in this preview hour. Let's actually bring on the first guest while we're at it. We've got Matt Miller from Black Type Thoroughbreds here. Maddy, how's it going?
Hi, everyone. It's great. How is everybody?
I'm excited, but you've got to be over the moon. 6 feet.
Yes.
Hello.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of with you, Ren. I know we talked not too long ago. We're both, kind of talking about our plans to make the trip. But
next year.
Yes.
Next year. So what you do, you take the Forever Young route, you win the UAE Derby, and then you come back for the Dubai World Cup.
I like it.
I like it.
Easy done.
Yeah. So clue the audience in on what's your connection. Ren mentioned 6-speed. What's happening this weekend for you?
Okay. Yes. So our partnership, Jake and I's partnership, Black Type Thoroughbreds, along with a few of the other guys that we manage, some big stables, Steve Atkinson and Brunetti Dugan stables. We're fortunate enough to purchase 6-speed previous to his last start and win in the Guineas. We bought him 100% control and made the decision that we could leave him over and try to make it to the Derby through Dubai. So it's been quite a ride. Jake made the trip last race, as you can see him. And it's just a whirlwind of an experience, I guess. It's rare to, have instant action 2 weeks later after signing papers and getting a horse purchased, and to be rewarded in this way and to have Derby points on the line. Everybody is just super pumped.
I can only imagine. You mentioned before the stream, one partner is especially pumped because of some wedding plans. Is that right?
Yay. So we have 2 new guys that we are very fortunate to have met and to have been purchasing horses for. They own 50% of all of our yearling group this year. They're huge racing fans, very excited. But John Brunetti is actually, he had planned he's getting married later this year, and he had planned his bachelor party to be on Derby Day in Louisville. And so then when this all came to the table, I mean, we just took it to a whole new level. So we are really excited and really hope for his sake that we can get 6-speed to the Kentucky Derby.
Well, I think it's awesome for so many reasons. You've obviously had success with Not This Time.
Right.
I would say. How's Cy-Fair, by the way? Just quick.
She's great. She'll be at Keeneland right before we know it. Second weekend.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Not This Time. One of the questions obviously is now going this distance. But the pedigree is just so flippin' good by Not This Time out of a Medaglia d'Oro mare. Medaglia d'Oro was second in the Dubai World Cup back in 2004. I believe that was to Pleasantly Perfect. And then you already know we use Family 1X. It's my favorite family. If you ever follow me, you all know I love the genealogies and the female families. And this one includes the likes of a Kentucky Derby winner in Super Saver.
Yes, he's got such a deep pedigree, and it's kind of like how I love to look at pedigrees. It's like a house. Like, you have to have that good foundation, and he has that foundation of just class through and through. And I know all of us are wondering about the distance. I think the most exciting thing for us, thinking he's going to be able to get it, is when he showed us the race before we bought him, the trial before the Guineas. he kind of cut off, showed that he could track. And then he still had that turn of foot and that gear, that extra gear that these classic type horses have going for home. So he was able to take his speed, rate it, while being able to use it, have something left to finish with. And that's kind of what he showed us as well in the Guineas, is like he didn't have to be the leader. You know, someone else came, he was pressed along the way, and then he was asked for more and he gave it to him. And the jock was the first one that told us, he's like, you know, I just love that coming down the lane. I didn't need to ask him for more, but I did, just to see if I had that gear. And he showed that to me. So, you know, obviously, can he go even further than the last race? We'll see, but we have no reason to believe that he can't.
I love it. And for the real geeks out there, fifth dam is number to count. You know what that means. You know what that means.
So what kind of setup are you hoping? Are there any competitors in the race that you're feeling like most concerned about?
You know, it's funny. We were actually talking this morning. Bupat sent a message to Jake, and he kind of summarized it the same way I did. It's kind of, we're really hoping to have similar kind of trip to last race. Is like, if somebody wants the lead, which it looks like there's going to be a hot pace in this race. You got the filly who wants to run on the front end. Pyromancer, I'm assuming, is going to go. I know one of Bupat's other horses, the Speightstown Colt, is going to want to go. So ideally,
no, that's the other one. No, I'm sorry.
Yo, you're good. Yeah. Ideally, we get, you know, we're breaking out of the 2-hole. Ideally, we can get a clean break and kind of dictate, you know, kind of maybe find our way to sit off track those who are dead set on going to the lead.
I think what's really interesting is, I don't know if you guys have heard, there's pretty bad weather in Dubai at the moment. Yeah. So I'm really interested to see how that's going to impact the track. I mean, it's going to soften it up, I suppose, and it could make it really, really testing. So that's going to be another thing that he's going to have to prove that he can push through that.
Exactly. Everybody, I know they never get rain over there, and now they're it's just crazy. Now, something else to add to the mix of this weekend,
right?
So,
yeah. Has he ever run on a surface that has had weather before like that?
No.
Or will that be first time?
It may be first time for everybody, unless, as far as I know, So
I'm checking the latest forecast.
And we have actually a guest who's going to be joining in a little bit is our coworker Isabella, who's over there and has been on track every day. I can share this too. It's going to mute us all when I put it up here, but here's 6 Speed from one of the mornings this past week. But I mean, it looks really good, and I'll be curious to see what Isabella says about the track, about how all the horses are, you know, kind of dealing with all the conditions over there. But really exciting. So do you have a watch party planned, or are you going to bet on them?
Jake is actually going to Gulfstream to go with Joe Dugan of Brunetti Dugan, and they're going to go to the Florida Derby since they couldn't go, and so they're going to kind of have that down there. Now, granted, it's at 9:30 in the morning, so
all right
here our time. So my plans are still in the works. So I'm trying to figure out that as we speak. But I got a good crew here left with me, so we'll do something for sure.
Well, it's so exciting. We're thrilled for you, Ren. I cut you off. What were you saying?
Oh, no, it's just really exciting. I mean, he already has 20 points on the board for the Kentucky Derby, but this is a lock. If any horse that wins this, they are guaranteed a spot in the gate. It's a 100-point race for the winner.
Yeah. So really, he needs what, third or better?
I think first or second, because he would get bumped.
Third would be what, 25 points?
It's on a scale of 100, 60, 30, 15, 30. And 10.
So the top 2 from the Middle East get.
But if he already has 20 points, then he might, he'd have 50, and that'd be probably a pretty comfortable spot. But we're gonna hope for the win. Obviously, that's the Derby is the goal, but this is the first goal. So, Maddy, we're really excited for you, and we'll be cheering them on. And thanks for tuning in for a couple minutes here to share about it.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and giving the opportunity to talk to you guys. It's been great. So, anyways,
next year.
Yes.
Thanks, Maddy.
Thank you again. See you guys.
Yeah,
Maddy. I adore her.
I know she's so sweet, and quite an exciting week heading up to this. But Who else you guys got? UAE Derby. I know the people.
Well, it's tough. You know, she mentioned the filly, and the filly actually went. So on the card that Saloom, that was the other Buffet Simar horse who is bred by Mackmore Hall. So Carrie Brogdon and her husband, and you know, he's a son of Authentic, won the Derby, won the Classic, won his debut, was so impressive, and then he was favored next out in the Dubai Road to the Kentucky Derby, or it used to be the Al-Bastakia, but he acted up at the gate and he was a scratch right there. And it was Brotherly Love who ended up prevailing. Now it's interesting because on the same card was the UAE Oaks, which was won by the filly who's now in the UAE Derby. And that is Labwa. And she actually went faster than the boys. She took them gate to wire, the girls. So they had a choice whether or not they were going to keep her against the fillies. In fact, she got 50 points to the Oaks in that race. The fact that they're now putting her at the males is pretty interesting.
Yeah. Is that what you would do if you could take the horse? Would you just go for the Oaks or would you try for the Derby?
It's a good question. What would you do, Maddy?
I think it depends on the strength of the races. I mean, if I thought she was in a really good spot and I thought the conditions would suit her, I think, why not? You know, there's only one Derby. Go big. I was so impressed with Saloom on that first start. It's not often that horses really catch your eye with that first run. And the way he did it, he just had way too much pace at every stage for the opposition and then stretched away really nicely in the closing stages. So I was so annoyed when he got through the gates and couldn't run last time. We just haven't been able to see what he's capable of. Whereas we have a little bit more evidence with Pyromancer, who's the favourite. Of course, he's from Japan and they've fielded the last 4 winners, owned by Godolphin. This horse, he likes to go forward. He's quite a keen going horse. I think he sets a pretty strong standard here. He's got a Racing Post rating, which being from the Racing Post is what I like to use, of 112. To put that into context, Forever Young recorded 114 in the Saudi Derby before he went on to win this race. So it's not a bad figure at all.
No.
And I think he's the one that they all have to rise up to. And, you know, Saloom could do it, but at the prices for me at the moment, I think Pyromancer just has to have the edge.
Well, we've got Carrie Brogdon, the breeder of Saloom, trying to join the stream, working on some technical stuff there. In the meantime, we can show some footage from these horses that we're talking about from the week leading up to this. We've got Pyromancer and Ren, Maddy. If we want to talk over that, we have to.
Oh, sorry.
And then we've got Brotherly.
Yeah, Brotherly Love, obviously, he represents the Heart of Honor connections of the Osbornes. And it's funny because he actually has resembled that horse in quite a lot of his races recently.
Oh, Heart of Honor, yes.
Yeah, Brotherly Love is slow away, under pressure early, doesn't have that early pace, but has that strong finishing kick. But again, on what we've seen from him so far, he is going to need to step up again. But I would love to see him win for Jamie and Safi Osborne.
It is pretty cool. And it's really, I was there last year when Heart of Honor nearly got there in this race.
Me
and it's
too.
Cool yeah. And they were so sporting to bring him over to the States and run him we in the Preakness and the Belmont. And then for him to be back now for the World Cup, it's pretty cool.
It's really cool. It's really cool. And it's great that, you know, they're showing, you say about with the filly, where would you go? They're showing that sportsmanship of just giving it a real go. You know, Jamie, he was agonizingly denied with Toast of New York in the Classic all those years ago. And you just get the sense that this is his big chance. And he's really building a stable on dirt now, which is not something that us Brits really do at all. So it's really fascinating to get that line of form and that insight into these dirt races. But I think Jamie would like it if his horses were a bit more forward early. They tend to give him a heart attack pre-race and take their time to warm up.
Yeah, and just going back to, I should also mention with Heart of Honor, he had a lot of success there as a 3-year-old. He was second not only in the UAE Derby, but also in the Guineas as well, the 2000 Guineas and the Al-Bastakia, which is again now the Dubai Road to the Kentucky Derby. So he's got a lot of familiarity. The family obviously likes the track itself. I actually thought they got there last year. I did. I was celebrating because I had picked Heart of Honor.
He's
Only
a
to
bit
find out.
quirky, isn't he? He kind of, I think sometimes he has his own mind about the game, and they've tried him in different headgear, and blinkers obviously have helped him a little bit. But yeah, he just edged out to his right a little bit as the post came, and I think that's just what handed the initiative to the other horse. But still a magnificent performance, and it was a real memorable battle.
That's for sure.
Well,
and his first pyro
Carrie's got it. She's got it. She's here.
All
So I'm
right.
going to bring Carrie Brogdon on the. Hey, Carrie, the breeder of Saloon.
I'm so sorry. I am the most computer illiterate person on the planet. I was looking through my emails for the link and I didn't realize she had texted it to me. My apologies.
No worries. Looks like you're on farm doing the real work. Hands on with the going.
Oh yeah, you could say that. I'm actually here. Behind me is Authentic Spirit, who just had his first ride with my daughter Lane Brogdon. Authentic Spirit was a my race horse that we bred, and unfortunately he had a bleeding problem. He was with Bob Baffert, and so when he retired, he came to me, and hopefully she is getting him ready for the Hunter Derby series.
Oh,
Nice.
cool. That's so exciting. I want to give you a chance to talk. I know we're going to talk about Saloon, but I know aftercare is a big passion of yours. So if you want to share a little bit about that. And just the aftercare
right now we're spearheading. Yeah, well, we're spearheading it's new thoroughbred hunter derbies. Like, what we want to do is we want to create demand for thoroughbred sport horses like they used to be. People don't realize in the 80s, like the first 18 of 20 show jumpers in the Hall of Fame were all thoroughbreds, and everyone switched to warm bloods, and we want to kind of reverse that trend. So what we're doing is we're developing classes for thoroughbreds only with obscene prize money. And
Love
the
it.
first major class will be at Upperville Horse Show, $25,000 class this June. Can't wait. And then we have a Warrenton Horse Show. The Bill Graves Memorial Hunter Derby will be at the Warrenton Horse Show on September 3rd. So I apologize for the wind and all the craziness. But
No, you're great.
yeah,
Actually,
I mean, you know, I go away from the thoroughbred farm to right here at the riding horse farm. You know, that's my life in a nutshell.
I love it. Okay, so tell us about Saloon. We just had a guest on, Maddie Miller, who's owner of Six Speed, and she got involved, like, you know, within a month of the race. But you're on the other side as a breeder, getting involved from like before the horse is even born.
Well, you know, it's funny. Maddie's partner, Jake Ballas, the closest we've ever gotten to winning the Kentucky Derby, we sold a horse privately. Jake Ballas, when he ran second main special, and that was Joining the Dance. And Jake ran 7th in the Kentucky Derby with him. I guess it's kind of appropriate since right, my camera went out. Saloon by Authentic, who is also Authentic Spirits sire right here.
That's awesome.
Wait, we can't see you anymore. Can you hear us? We can still hear you.
Yeah, I can.
We can hear you. Yeah.
We just can't see you anymore, but that's okay. Okay, so what is it like for you, Carrie, heading into?
I don't. It's the whole screen. Sorry,
No worries,
the whole screen went back. I don't know. Anyway, sorry about that. But Saloon is by Authentic Spirit. So we have the racehorse that's going. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. I think you're saying it's cool because on the one side you've got a racehorse going for a race that has Kentucky Derby implications,
I'm so sorry.
and yet you got a horse getting ready to go and show what he can do in the show ring, and they're both by Authentic, and I think that's awesome.
Really, really cool. Carrie, we are sorry you're having technical problems. So we know you're you're in the weeds, so we're gonna let you go, but we appreciate you. We appreciate her joining us. And
We do.
Really cool to see. She's here. She's gone. Okay, I think we're gonna call it, but
No.
still cool to have. You know, you never know out on a farm what kind of technical stuff you're going to run into. But really cool.
There's little free time. There's a little free time to do anything when you got horses to tend. So.
Yeah, but I can't imagine what it's like. I mean, I've owned horses that are racing across the wire, but and I'm a breeder, and I've had my own homebred win, but like not at the level of this.
Wow, you're a breeder.
I didn't know you bred a horse, Alexa.
I've bred 3 horses, and one has won. So,
I did not know that.
One's
now I
track
feel. Do
so,
I even know you at all?
Do you know me? Yeah. So, but not on the global stage, not in Dubai. So really, really cool to be looking at that coming into this week.
I think it's awesome.
Okay, Maddy, Ren, I'm curious, just before we wrap up the UAE Derby and move on to the Dubai Golden Shaheen, top selection as of right now without having, the full PPs and everything else.
That's the problem. Well, I think I know where she's going. And you've made a very compelling argument for a lot of good reasons. I'll let you speak for yourself.
I mean, yeah, I think I've said it pretty much. Look, I think with this field, you have one horse that is an absolute standout on what we know so far, and that is Pyromancer. And I think at the odds here, I'm seeing best odds around 9-4, which I think is pretty fair given the official rating that he's achieved in his 3 starts in Japan. Love Saloom. I'm such a big fan of him. Can't wait to see what he can do. One of the key things that I was most interested in asking about actually is just what he was like as a young horse, because it's clear that Bhupat Sima has always thought the absolute world of him. And I'm interested how that plays when you have a foal, even on the ground. Do you know that this horse is special straight away? What are some of his characteristics? So he's definitely a really interesting contender, as is 6 Speed. He's well named. I think speed is obviously key to a lot of the dirt races at Meydan, as speed is key to any dirt race. But I just think for me, I have slight concerns just about the stamina, particularly if it is a really deep track. But he's got the performances on the board. He's got the rating to be really competitive. But I think on balance, I can't really see past Pyromancer at the moment. What are you saying, Ren?
Without the past performances in front of me where I can really get into the whole minutia of it all, I'm just going to go with my pedigree leanings of having a favorite family, and I'm going to lean 6 Speed. But again, the argument made for Pyromancer is very compelling. And I would be curious to see what the filly does, only based on, it's very hard to judge when you've got a filly going outside of her own sex against the males, because it's a whole different ball game. That being said, she won so convincingly, and I'm not necessarily sure when it's only a lightly raced horse, the way in which that speed can be tactical. So we can see what she potentially does here. I mean, the decision to put her in this spot, I'm sure, was not made flippantly. So I think it's interesting. I think it's a very interesting field. I think the Kentucky Derby implications, given what we've seen out of this race, is also something that we all need to pay attention to. I mean, just for one instance, looking at Forever Young and how he won this race, and then he comes to the Kentucky Derby and he's in that 3-horse photo finish with Mystic Dan, his cousin Sierra Leone, and himself, and then what he developed to be with both Sierra Leone and himself, then going on to become Breeders' Cup Classic winners too. It's a really, really cool race. I hope
telling races, right? We know some races are more predictive than others, just like from a historical standpoint of standout horses that might emerge from it. So really exciting. We want you to comment.
2021 Rebels Romance, obviously got to give him a shout out.
Oh, of course.
Back to the turf, and it's sad we're not going to see him in the Sheema Classic, but he is an absolute legend of a horse. If I could have one final word on the race, a horse who I would not consider betting, but I'll be interested to see how he does, is Goman. This horse trained in France and has actually produced some really nice figures, although he's only really been raced on the turf lots of testing ground. He's been successful on testing ground. His action, visually, I'm no expert on dirt action, but I'm not sure how he's going to go. But he could be a nice closer at a huge price if he takes to the dirt. So I'll be interested to see if he can.
Well, it's interesting. Going back to Pyromancer real quickly, you look at that family, there's a lot of turf influence on that bottom side, but it's a very flexible, classy family. It's family 5H. So it's produced on the one side, horses like Sadler's Wells, on the other side, horses like Blame. So you can get group grade 1 class.
I saw Carrie came back, so I wanted to get Carrie. If we've got one last thought on Saloon, we want to know what the horse would like young, like, and if you had any good like indicators that this horse is going to be a superstar.
Well, first of all, Saloon and Litmus Test were both born on our farm in the same night.
That's so cool.
And they were big, strong, strapping horses. Yeah, I have a text from Craig with pictures of both of them. And then actually we have the Charlatan filly that's in the
well,
we tried.
We gave it our best go. So that's so cool though. 2 horses. Wonder what day that was. I want to look back and see.
Mockbar Hall consistently hits with quality stock.
She's an incredible breeder. We love to see a woman in the sport doing incredible things. But let's pivot. Let's head to the Dubai Golden Shaheen. Before we do that, I want to remind everybody that to sign up today for a $200 deposit match with NYRA Bets and get involved with all the international racing action on Dubai World Cup Day. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime with NYRA Bets. So make sure to do that. $200 match is a really good deal. You can also scan the QR code at the top of the screen in order to sign up. So do that. We're going to bring on, before we dive deeply into that race, we've got 2 guests waiting. We've got Isabella, Leslie, and Gavin joining us. Hey guys.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good, yeah. We're actually experiencing a thunderstorm now, believe it or not.
I was just going to ask you, how's the weather?
Yeah, it's
With
very
tornado warnings.
yeah, very off and on. There's some possible tornado warnings. They've actually closed the track tomorrow. So we all have to train on the Tapeta at 5:20 a.m. So we've got like 5 hours and then we head to the track. But
oh my goodness.
yeah, the traction, it's handled the water fine so far. You know, it's much more of a sandier base than it is in Kentucky. In the U.S., nowhere near as deep. It doesn't get cuppy. So we're not too worried about it, but they're just thinking ahead and protecting it as much as they can tomorrow.
Is the rain over with after tonight? Because I looked at the forecast a couple of minutes ago and it shows sun for tomorrow. And no, it's not.
Yeah,
okay, my forecast is trash.
No,
forecast.
You can't figure out the weather here. Like it'll say it's raining, it's actually not. It's very inconsistent, typical desert. So yeah, like it wasn't even supposed to move in this quickly, and it's thundering and lightning right now. So it's you never know. But the roads don't handle the water here, so it floods easily, which is the problem. But you know, we're throwing everything at us: war, storm, tornadoes. We've been joking, saying locusts are next. We're just gonna go through this.
For real, it's like literally when it rains, it pours. But you've been over there really since Saudi Cup, right? Like you transitioned from Saudi Arabia over to Dubai, and I know these last couple of weeks you've really been watching these horses in the mornings. The footage that we're showing on the show is courtesy of Isabella.
Thank you so much
for us. But have there been any that have really stuck out to you in the last week?
You know, it's Forever Young's obvious, right? Like he looks like he always does. No changes. Like, you know, it's Saudi. They said he wasn't 100%. I saw him in Saudi. I've seen him here. I think he does look better than he did in Saudi. So hopefully I'm expecting big things from him. I know you guys mentioned Pyromancer. I was really excited to see him. And he was one of my, top picks in the Derby. I'm just a bit concerned about him mentally. He's been quite difficult in the morning. He gets washed out. So it'll be interesting to see how he handles everything. But physically, he's a very good-looking horse. Choose is another one. He worked really well the other day, but he's always been a super workhorse. So I think he's in, it's a tough race. He's a 9-year-old, but I'm excited to see what he does as well. So there's so many good horses here. It's hard to say which one's your favorite because everywhere you look, you've got a nice horse around you.
Well, you work in the Seymour barn. So how about 6-speed, Saloom? What are your feelings there?
Yeah, so I'm very fortunate. Bupin and I do the 2-year-old sales together in the U.S. We've got 3 runners actually on Saturday that we purchased together. So he actually purchased 6-speed himself. I believe it was Tattersall's Craven sale. Don't quote me on that. But he's not a typical knot this time. He's very small. You see him up against Saloom, and it's 2 completely different animals. I definitely, he's super rapid. He has a ton of speed. He's well named. The question for him will be the distance. If he can get the distance, he's going to be a superstar. So that would be the big question mark for him, but they're very high on him. Saloom, obviously, it's just a mental game for him. He should have raced, I believe, 3 times now, and he's only run once. So he's been gate schooling every morning. You would never know his antics. Like, he's like a pony, walks right in, breaks quickly, does nothing wrong on the track, doesn't need a pony, whereas 6-speed has a pony with him. So he's got a load of talent. Everyone knows that. It's just a matter of, can he handle the pressure on the big day?
And there's Ramos, and there's also Lino Pedrino.
Yeah, so Lino was one Bupin and I sourced from the Fasig-Tipton Mid-Atlantic sale, and we paid $200,000 for him, probably the most expensive Uncle Lino to sell. I don't know, but that would be my guess. He's been a great horse. I think it's going to be a tough race for him. The 1 hole is a bit of a concern for me because he's been slow way before. Hopefully he breaks well and gets in a good position, but they're going to go really quick in the race. So we'll see what happens there. And who else? Bupin has so many.
We've got the footage of Lino I can put on. We'll just have to unmute her. When it's over, we can ask Isabella what day this was and her thoughts on it. But that's Lino Pedrino, the horse she was just talking about, purchasing for 200. You said 200,000.
Yeah, I believe he was 200. He worked. That was his gallop out on Sunday. They moved the works up a day, trying to beat the rain. So just an easy. They done their tough final work the week before, but he did it easy. He looks good. He's happy. He's bouncing, feeling good. So we're excited to see what happens with him. I think he's peaking at the right time. So
and that's crazy. That's just the 2-year-old, or the 2-year-olds. What am I saying? That's just the 3-year-olds in the UAE Derby, with the 4 from the barn there. And then you mentioned 2s in the Golden Shaheen, which he won in 2024.
Yes.
And then, I mean, he's such a consistent trier too. A really cool horse. I was there last year when Dark Saffron got up for the win, but it's always, I was also kind of rooting for Nakatomi though. Sorry.
Well, speaking of Nakatomi, Gavin, we haven't heard from you yet, and you've been exercise riding every morning with Nakatomi.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. There's a plenty.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was very lucky. Obviously, I was just over here. I didn't actually come over here with Nakatomi. Louis was meant to be coming over here and riding him. He was over here the last 2 years with him when he came over here. Like you mentioned, 2 years ago he finished 3rd, and then last year he finished 2nd. And Louis was with him both years. And sadly, Louis wasn't able to make the trip. And obviously, I've ridden winners for Wesley in America, and just on the off chance they saw through Isabella that I was over here, they was like, hey, would Gavin be interested in getting on him? And obviously I'm not going to turn down that opportunity. Yeah, it's been great. It's been great getting on him every morning leading up to this. So of course I'm rooting him for him in the race.
Yeah. Oh, and I should mention, we should, just for those who are kind of new to the whole Dubai World Cup card, the Group 1 Dubai Golden Shaheen is going to go off as race 6 on the card at 6 furlongs on the dirt, 3-year-olds and up, $2 million purse. And of course, the headliner in there is our champion sprinter. This is a winning year for the Breeders' Cup Sprint, and Ben Tornado is in there. So what are your feelings on the overall pace shape? Nakatomi's a horse. If it sets up for him, that's the thing. Last year, he was coming, and I don't know that he had excuse for how he performed. He finished 9th in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. back in November, and that was his last start. But he will bring it when he's feeling his best. And I heard that he is feeling very good, and he obviously loves the track.
So yeah, obviously, if you just look at the components for Nakatomi, he loves the track. Finished third and second over it 2 years in a row. I've been told that he likes a wetter track, which obviously with the rain coming, that'd be great. The last 2 years we didn't have the rain, so clearly he likes it with or without the rain. So I'm not too concerned whether we get it or we don't. From the pace angle, there's going to be pace in the race, but he is quirky. I don't want to say quirking the gates. Obviously, the first year he came over it, he wasn't fast away from the gates. I'm not saying he was slow. He wasn't fast away from the gates. Last year, he broke well enough. He doesn't have that early speed, and that's one thing that I know Wesley said that he would have preferred an outside draw to help him overcome that. You know, if you get stuck on the inside, then there can be challenges to overcome. But this year, like you said, the race is going to be pacing the race, and he was drawn 5, obviously, but now with the non-runner, he's gone down to 4. I know Wesley would rather him have been drawn outside. I'm hoping he can overcome it. I don't see him being involved in the early pace in the race.
Right.
To be honest, obviously, I think Twos is going to go forward, and there's other horses drawn inside of him that are going to go forward. But yeah, I would like to see a repeat run of what he did last year. You know, he was 3 wide going around the bend last year, and to be honest, it actually frustrates me watching the replay of him last year. I thought he was the winner the whole way up the straight. He could just never go by, and full credit to
Ismail Harbia? Oh, the winner, yeah.
Oh yeah. Full Dart Saffron. Full credit to that horse for winning that day and putting up a good fight. Obviously, Twos had some trouble on the rail, but the way that he worked the other day was incredible. So Bentonado obviously is the one to beat, but he's drawn 2. So I think it's going to be a really, really exciting race to watch.
I think it might be one of the best races on the night.
I know, right? Well, Isabella, have you had a chance to speak to Jose D'Angelo, trainer of Bentornado?
Yeah, so we see Jose every morning. His guys every day. Their horse is doing great. He looks the part. You know, he's just a monster of an animal. So their hopes are high for him, that's for sure.
He looked pretty freakish to me when he won at the Breeders' Cup. I mean, he must be one of the fastest horses around. I find it interesting sort of building up these sprinters to the race. And Gavin, you might be able to give some more insight into Nakatomi. Is it just keeping them under wraps, nothing too serious? Will they have a serious bit of work in the lead up?
So I feel as though every trainer is different. And the thing is with Wesley, the first thing as soon as he got off the plane, the first thing that he said to Pam, who has come over here with the horse, he said the horse is fit. He's fit. He doesn't need anything more into him. And you're not going to get anything more into him in the last 2 weeks. He said he's fit. All I've done every single day is jog him. I turned him around on Sunday and give him a nice, easy 5/8. Like literally, it was very, very steady. Let him get some air in his lungs down the stretch, and that's it. So I've been very lucky. The trainers that I've worked under in the UK, when they were training sprinters, they say it's actually quite easy with them. You know, they get themselves fit. And Nakatomi is certainly in that state. He's fit and ready to go.
I've hung out with him. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you know, everyone has their different training methods. So Bentornado actually had a very quick work the other day. I think 47 and something. Lovesick Blues is, you know, does a bit less. He in between the two, I would say. So everyone has their own methods. So it's kind of cool to see, you know, because we're in the barn with everyone. So you see everyone's training routine, and it's a nice camaraderie as well. Everyone's helping each other. Like we're short riders. Tomorrow we're trying to figure out how we're going to get all the horses out at the same time. So, but it's nice. So then you learn everyone's training routine. And like, I think, for instance, Lovesick Blues, I believe, is walking tomorrow. So we'll go out and jog. And I think Ben Tornado is going to jog. But it's just it's a cool thing. You know, it's cool to see.
Yeah, I know often when I travel, the Japanese work their horses quite hard and fast, when a lot us Europeans, we will do the bare minimum we can. So such a fast horse, Ben Tornado. I was interested in if he has done anything. So interesting that he has had a good hit out. Anyway, thanks.
Yeah, and then he gallops every day. So I think tomorrow, like I said, I think he'll jog. But yeah.
What have you noticed any of the horses who have made a long ship, if any of them just don't quite look like they've completely recovered, or any who look like they're absolutely flourishing?
I would say Nakatomi and Ben Tornado to me look like they're flourishing. Forever Young's great, but every day Nakatomi's coat's brighter. Ben Tornado, I would say the same. The one horse that I'm not too fond of at the moment is Banishing. Obviously, he ran Pegasus and he ran Saudi Cup. Now he's here. I would say his coat's a bit long and dull. He's just had a harder campaign, I think, more recently. But that's not to say, you know, you never know. I'll say that and he'll go and win the race.
True, right?
Yeah, but there's not one that I've been like, oh, like that's terrible, or wow, that's, you know, a total standout. Calandigan, obviously he looks great.
Oh my gosh, I know.
So yeah, they're all looking good. You know, there's not anyone that I think is concerning.
What do you think of this comment? And I hope I read it correctly. Because there's so much information that's coming out, and kudos to the Dubai Racing Club notes team. They've been absolutely amazing getting information out, interviews, clips, photos, all the good stuff. But I believe Mr. Yahagi had mentioned, because somebody had brought up regarding the Saudi Cup, he didn't have to fight as hard this go around as he did last year. And so is that maybe putting him in a better position as he heads into this year's edition of the Dubai World Cup to avenge himself? And he said no, because he can get lazy. And I hope I read that correctly. And just didn't misunderstand speed reading it. But have you heard anything to that effect?
No, we've actually had the conversation that we thought it would be, you know, better for him because he didn't have as tough of a race this year in Saudi.
That's what I would think too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as well, he's had the extra week. Last year, he had 1 week less.
Because Eid was different.
Correct.
Yeah.
So if I was a jockey, I'd prefer. I'd like that. If I was his jockey, I would prefer him having that extra week.
I hear you.
Well,
He looks
I know it's almost midnight, and your morning has been moved up to like 4 a.m. So we really appreciate the insights and everything you're bringing to us from on site. This real-time journalism is really, really valuable. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll let you guys head to bed.
No worries. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for everything you've been doing, Isabel. You rock star. Absolute rock star.
Of course. My pleasure. Bye.
And speaking of, bye guys. Speaking of, we're going to show a couple of the footages that she's sent us. This is Nakatomi, which I just think is so quirky.
Oh, what a boy. What a boy. What a boy.
How can you not love that
like
horse?
A bit of a nut, but in a fun way.
Oh, he's
You
so
do that
sweet.
every
You know, one of the owners, his little girl gets on her or gets on him.
Yeah, he's a completely different horse in the stable versus on the track. We have a video going around on our ABR channel that's worth watching of him getting in his couple leaps in the morning. So
I love him. I love him. Oh, I should mention I don't know if you, I'm sorry if I keep you up one more minute because we're just talking about the Golden Shaheen still. What do you make of El Nasib from the Mahab El Shimal? Because I thought that was a really impressive performance where he broke a half step slow and he bided his time. And then in stretch, he just angled out and he dug and swallowed up Dark Saffron, who had repelled Tuz. So that's another horse we should probably have on our radar, I would think. I thought it was just really impressive to turn a foot there in stretch.
Yeah, we actually, funny enough, we're talking tonight with Richie Mullins, and he said he thinks the race is going to set up really well for that horse. So, like you said, he ran an impressive race last time. I definitely wouldn't put him out of the picture. But Ben Tornado is still, I think, if I had to pick one, he'd be the one to beat.
Yeah, I think he looks pretty tough too.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll let you go to bed. I appreciate everything. And speaking of Ben Tornado, here's some footage of Ben Tornado in the mornings as well, looking fine. So really good. It does look like.
I was blown away by that horse at the Breeders' Cup. I mean, over here, obviously, we don't have dirt racing as such. We have a weather racing, but you guys race backwards to us. You know, it's all about early speed, whereas here, it's all about sitting back and unleashing your run in the straight. It makes for really interesting tactical races. And this horse is just a superstar. The amount of speed he showed, but then he was also able to sustain it. I was absolutely blown away by him. I think if he's on his A game, and Isabella seemed to think that he was, then he's going to be really tough to beat.
He looks phenomenal.
Yeah,
he really does. Yeah. It's okay.
Pivoting. We gotta move along to the Dubai Sheema Classic, and for this race, another guest to join us, a very familiar face. We've got Matthew DeSantis joining us.
Hey, Matthew, how are you?
I'm doing well. Yeah, doing well. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it. And I'll be honest, listening to you guys talk about Ben Tornado gave me flashbacks to 2 years ago in the Breeders' Cup when I had him at 28-1, and he got loopy. That was a tough one, but he is one of my favorite horses in training for Jose, and he is absolutely a picture over there.
Oh, he looks, again, phenomenal. But as Alexa said, race 8, it's going to be the Group 1 Longines Dubai Sheema Classic, $6 million purse. Wow. And this race just over 12 furlongs. And this probably has the co-headliner of the whole card in Calandigan. This is the world's top-rated racehorse. And we haven't seen him in action since he set a new world record winning the Japan Cup. And that was his 4th consecutive Group 1 victory. And over 3 different countries, by the way, picking up those Group 1s. Wow.
Pretty incredible resume. Maddie, how are you feeling about Calandigan in here?
Yeah, I'm so excited to see him. I was there last year when he finished 2nd in the Sheema Classic to Danon de Sile. And funnily enough, after that, he went to the Coronation Cup at Epsom and he finished 2nd to Jean Bruegel. And people were questioning his temperament, and maybe he'd not won a Group 1 by that stage. People were thinking maybe he's just not got it in him. Couldn't have been further from the truth. Then he went on an extraordinary winning spree, which included first up the Grand Prix de Saint-Cloud. Then he went and won the King George at Ascot. Then he had a little break, came back for the Champion Stakes at Ascot, where he beat a stellar field, including Ombudsman, who's going to run in the Dubai Turf on the card as well. And then, of course, finished off a sensational season with that Japan Cup, the first international runner to win a Japan Cup in an awfully long time. Where he reversed his earlier form from the season with Danon de Sile, obviously. He's quite an athletic horse to look at. He's quite light-framed. But from what I can gather from the track notes, etc., he's settled in fantastically to the routine in Meydan. And yeah, he's the best horse in the world. He is... he's got the whole package, really. He's got a turn of foot, and I think that's key in this race because I don't think there's going to be a lot of pace, and it could turn into a bit of a sprint. And if it does, then Calandigan should be well served by that.
No, it's interesting watching him run. Oh,
I see Matt nodding there. Is that? Are you feeling like it's going to set up that way as well?
Yeah, listen, I mean, this is one of those races where as a fan of horse racing, I just sit back and just enjoy it. And, you know, it's one of those where when you have a horse like Calandigan, obviously in the headliner with Forever Young, you just appreciate horses that are international superstars. You know, we've seen horses like Rebel's Romance run all over the world as well. You know, and, you know, here in the United States, North American racing, we race horses so lightly. They travel so little. When they do, they spike fevers and don't run, you know, things like that. There's so many things can go wrong when a horse travels that are outside of anybody's control. And to see these horses like Clandigan, like Forever Young, like Rebel's Romance, just travel the world and show up with their A game every single time is so incredibly impressive. Clandigan, I think towers over this field, certainly in terms of class. And I think it's just going to be one of those where you sit back with your popcorn and enjoy the festivities.
I love it. There's an old book. I cannot remember to whom this quote is attributed, but they said one of the things you want to see in a racehorse, it's an old thoroughbred breeding book, an old one. You want to see those legs getting flicked out there like a dancer. And boy, does he have that quality. That's really exemplifies that quote. And I'm excited to see him. The only thing in my gut that I keep thinking about is last year we had so many heavy favorites. Oh, this horse can't lose. This horse is. There were so many favorites who lost this. And almost inexplicably, right? So the one side I'm like, yes, I don't see anybody beating him, and I don't see anybody beating Ben Tornado. On the other side, I'm like, but last year. So how yeah, because you're so good at sniffing out value. How would you play this race if you're not just going to sit on your hands and enjoy?
Yeah, listen, I think there's a couple ways. Listen, I'm a huge fan of Ethical Diamond. What that horse did in the Breeders' Cup
Classic,
Classic,
that was wild.
we're going to be writing books about, I think, and certainly, you know, going from honestly a little bit like Constitution Hill, right? Going from jumping to
I love this.
The flats.
More Constitution Hill chat.
Yeah, listen,
I was not expecting him to come up today.
Listen, I'm sitting in my office on a Wednesday at Aqueduct, and all I'm doing is refreshing the Kempton feed and looking for Constitution Hill to run. So he's a superstar on both sides of the Atlantic, and love that. But, you know, I think the horse that I would probably naturally gravitate towards is Royal Power for Charlie Appleby with William Buick aboard, only because he fits the profile of a horse I usually try to pick in these types of spots if I'm going to try to get smart and try to beat him, in terms of a relatively lightly raced horse who seems like he's kind of ascending and maybe going to peak at the right time and maybe hasn't quite run his best race yet, in terms of I still think there's more ceiling to him in this sort of a spot. But again, hard to play against this one. And, you know, Ren, you would know, you know, when we play these multi-race sequences here in the United States all the time, he's a single and you move on.
Take the free square and be happy.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how you make money, is you single him here and you try to find some value in some other races.
And it's funny that you bring up Charlie Appleby, because even he, in his interviews, has basically conceded we're running for the minor awards here.
Yeah, I mean,
I do think you're onto the right one, though, in terms of place money, because he beat El Cordobés on his penultimate start, and that horse has gone on to win a Grade 1. He's incredibly talented, and there's probably going to be more in store for him as well. Then he had that huge break, and then he came back with a win last time. So he's unexposed, and as a son of Frank, I know he's a 5-year-old now, but he's missed a lot of time. They do tend to develop and mature.
So true. Yeah.
And look, you know, he shouldn't be classy enough to threaten the top 3 in the market. But also, if he goes forward as well, if William Buick wants to take the initiative, then he could get the run of the race if he wanted to as well. But yeah, Clandigan, Ethical Diamond, Giavolotto, 2 very, very talented horses.
It's going to be fun, though. I mean, this is one of those days where, at least here in the United States, I'm going to be waking up at, 7 a.m., getting ready for all of the great racing. The UAE Derby, I feel like, is absolutely packed. For those of us who follow the Kentucky Derby and the Kentucky Oaks Trail, I think they have 3 legitimate Derby threats in that race with Saloom and 6 Speed and Pyromancer. I can't wait to see the 3 of them. And then the day doesn't end until 7:30 at night over here with the Florida Derby and the Arkansas Derby and all that stuff. So it's going to be a fun day, that's for sure. And it's a great day, too, I think, for those of us who love international racing, for more casual fans to get exposed to a horse like Clandigan, who might, because the horse didn't come over for the Breeders' Cup, people might not be quite as familiar with Clandigan and, things like that. And obviously, people have gotten to know Forever Young so well. So being able to see all these horses on an international stage is just truly wonderful, and one of those great things in the middle of the spring that I feel really kicks off horse racing worldwide at this time of year.
It does. True. I mean, like, we've all got Derby fever. We're catching Derby fever now with being like a month away, and we've got Florida Derby as well. So many things happening. Like you said, Saturday is going to be quite the marathon for the horse fans. It's a good day for people to hop on NYRA Bets and get engaged. I don't know if people to share in the promotions or things people can do this weekend on NYRA Bets.
Yeah, well, listen, there's a ton of free content that you can get on NYRA Bets. Whether you're playing with us or not, we certainly hope you are, but it's open to everybody. We have a YouTube channel. Myself and my colleague, Kaylee Shapiro, we have previews for the Arkansas Derby. Oh, we all love Kaylee. The Arkansas Derby, the Florida Derby. We got a preview of the Dubai World Cup up there as well. A lot of great
Is there
stuff.
a whiteboard?
There's not a whiteboard yet. Ren, the professor's whiteboard is going to come out. For those of you who don't know, I used to be a political science professor before I gave up that very well-established profession to get involved in horse racing. So listen, it is one of those things where it's going to be, like I said, great stuff all weekend long on NYRA Bets. We obviously have the promo code you can use, the ABR200, to get signed up on NYRA Bets. If you're not playing already, we have great promotions every single day across the country. So if you're not a member of NYRA Bets yet already, make sure to sign up. Whether we have promos at Oaklawn, Tampa Bay Downs, NYRA, obviously out in the West Coast as well, down at Gulfstream Park. We have some promos for the Dubai World Cup as well. So listen, wherever you're playing and whatever track you're playing, make sure to play it on NYRA Bets.
That was, you could clip that off.
Yeah,
for the promo.
Cool.
That's a commercial right there.
Right there, clip it. We're done. No, Matt, before we do let you go, I know we talked about, the Sheema Classic. You mentioned a couple in the UAE Derby that you're excited about. Are there any other bets this weekend, Dubai related or other big races in the country where you have like a good play for people to make a bet on?
It's funny. Last week, I had a crazy suspicion about a horse named Lorelei Lee. And I could not believe that she actually ended up winning that race for Mike Maker at Turfway Park and paid like $24 to win. So that was a good one for me. This week, I don't have any, crazy thoughts, but I will say I think Litmus Test in the Arkansas Derby, for those of you who are following the Derby Trail, I think that horse is sitting on a huge race. Bob Baffert, having that horse working locally at Oaklawn Park is usually a huge plus move. I love the outside draw. Blinkers off on Bob Baffert is like free money over the years. That is a winning angle. And I just think Renegade doesn't need the 100 points. And I think that, I think Renegade's a very, very good horse. I'm not saying he's a vulnerable favorite, but I think Litmus Test at 5-1, if you're trying to get creative in that race, that's where I'm going to be going with the best bet.
Well, we had Carrie on earlier, who's the breeder of Litmus Test and Saloon, said they were born the same night, so maybe it'll be a magical day across the globe for Montreal, and hopefully for you with your bets. So, thanks, Matt. We appreciate it. You tuning in and sharing some insights, and we'll be following you all weekend for hopefully some more juicy picks, maybe.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to chat with you, and have a great weekend as well.
Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you.
Bye.
Love Matt. He's always amazing. Okay, so do you guys want to just real quick recap top maybe 2 in the Sheema Classic that you would recommend people make?
Oh, I'm not even going top 2. Just Calandigan. Let's just.
Okay, well that's why I said top 2, because we know.
Oh, well, yeah.
and
rolling with Matthew and Maddie. I think.
Yeah, I'm not just saying this. I genuinely had it down in my notes because maybe not so much Ethical Diamond, but definitely Giavolotto wants a strong pace. He has had the benefit of a recent run, of course, so he is going to be maybe that tiny bit fitter than Calandigan and Ethical Diamond. But I do really like Royal Power. Obviously we have no Rebels Romance here, but Godolphin know what they're doing, and they've fielded him in here. Just think he has that little bit of untapped potential and could have a tactical angle, but no one should get anywhere near Calandigan. Fingers crossed that he produces best.
All right, well, there we have it. We're all Team Calandigan, and let's move on to the headline of the weekend, really. I mean, I know we've got a lot going on, but I think Dubai World Cup 30th is what I'm most excited to watch this weekend. So Dubai World Cup. We've also got another guest joining us, Katie Taylor from Taylor Made. Hey, Katie, how's it going?
Katie.
Oh, we can't hear you.
Okay, hear me now?
Yes.
Hear you now.
Okay, great.
I'm moving you around because there we go. Now you're
okay, perfect.
Hi. Hi, thanks for joining.
Hi. How's it going, everyone?
Awesome. Yeah, no, it's Alexa's just queuing us up. We're going to talk about race 9 on the Dubai World Cup card, the $12 million Group 1, of course, Dubai World Cup, the 10 furlong contest in which Forever Young will seek to avenge his third place finish in last year's edition. And again, it's the 30th edition. So I take it back to Cigar and Bill Mott. And I do wish, I'll admit selfishly, I do wish that we had sovereignty in this race. I do.
Yeah.
But so it is.
Well, okay, Katie, we've got you on here because we keep hearing on this stream, not this time, not this time, not this time. It's just
Not this time.
one of those tires. He's very, very hot and important right now, and obviously with TaylorMade. So, what can you tell us about him? How's he doing?
I mean, he's a dream come true. He's a great horse. Like, you know, he's got a full buck. He's up here breeding mares. I mean, it's like just queens unloading right up the hill from my office all day, every day to go see him. So, you know, he's amazing. And what's really just incredible to me is, you know, these 3-year-olds right now are $45,000 stud fee horses. And I mean, he's just got a ton, you know, coming out all over on the Derby trail. And then, you know, older horses, obviously we're thinking Magnitude. It might be his time. We're hoping so for Dubai World Cup, but you know, he's unbelievable. He's just such an amazing horse. Like, yeah, he's great. Fit as a fiddle, you know, loving life, I guess. So what's not to like, I don't think, you know.
What did he stand at stud for when he originally retired? I don't even remember at this point.
I think he was 17.5, but
that's ridiculous. Can you imagine if you got in first crop 17.5, not this time?
Yeah.
And now he's 250
and full. And he's turning him away. You know, he's 210 was as much as we could negotiate to get in. So he's just unreal. I mean, I think if he could breed 300 mares, or if we'd let him breed 300 mares, then he would breeding that many mares. So, you know, he's just awesome.
But it's cool. I mean, when you I'm sorry.
I was just saying it's incredible to see, you know, a real champion sire emerge and be kind of like watching that real time for you guys. I mean, you have so many horses, like you said, coming out from him that are just killing it and doing amazing. But what would it mean to have a win on a global stage like this in the Dubai World Cup?
You know, I mean, I don't think it's surprising. I think he's a horse that it's in the cards. It's going to happen. You know, over in Europe now, that filly, what is her name? I think Blanc de Blanc, is that her name over there? But you know, he's got European horses coming up. We've got Magnitude going over to the World Cup. You know, it doesn't surprise me if we win, but you know, if he wins it. But you know, at the same time, he's a young gun. There's a lot of, you know, really great horses. I mean, Forever Young, he's just unbelievable. So you know, but it would mean a ton. And you know, honestly, we're on the ride of our lives with Not This Time. He was born here and raised here and everything else. So every day is just a bunch of blessings. Like, he just is a gift that keeps on giving. So we'll take whatever and be proud and happy with him. So
I love it. But it's really cool. I know the connections are feeling good about Magnitude. He's following sort of the same path that Gunrunner did, going from the Razorback into the Dubai World Cup. And we saw the kind of horse it took to beat Gunrunner that day in Arrogate. One of the craziest, most awesome performances I think we've seen. But Magnitude is just, he's a well-named horse. He fits his name.
And he, to me, is a horse that, like, you know, he obviously had a good year as a 3-year-old and like a very tough 3-year-old crop. But, you know, to me, it's just, he's a horse that I think could continue to be on the improve. And, you know, we've seen with Not This Time, the sons of his that have gone on to run as older horses have, you know, continued to improve and get better and go on. So, you know, nothing would surprise me. And, you know, I think Forever Young's great, and I'm happy either way, but I'd like it to be really close between the two of them, whatever happens, you know. And obviously there's some other good ones in there, but those are, you know, those two right now are my favorites. That's what I want to see as a, you know, a stretch duel between those two, maybe a photo finish. That'd be amazing.
That would be quite an exciting end to the Dubai World Cup day for sure.
And we should mention that just 2 starts back though, you know, not this time, beat last year's Dubai World Cup winner in his show when he won the Clark at Churchill.
Yeah. Anything's possible. It's awesome. And you talking about cigar earlier. So I actually we lease the Diamond A farm, and we're actually launching tours out there. And I have been doing like a deep dive into all of Alan Paulson racing and so watching Cigars World Cup and Pleasantly Perfect's World Cup like a million times in the last couple weeks doing all my research. And it's just, I don't know, it's like I mean, you just go back over 30 years of history and watch all like the breed changers and like the amazing horses that have come out of that race. It's like, I mean, it's, you know, it's like the hero maker race. It's unbelievable. I mean, and for us with Chrome and I don't know.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I was there for that. Yeah, I was there, and the saddle slipped back. Yeah. The saddle.
I mean,
he got back to the winner's circle enclosure, and the saddle. I
mean, Victor. I mean, talk about ride of your life, holding on by your fingernails. I don't know. I mean, that was some impressive riding.
Oh my goodness. And you mentioned Pleasantly Perfect, and Medaglia d'Oro was second in that edition.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy.
It's a wonderful race. It truly is.
And under the lights and everything else, I don't know. It's just there's something about that's very special. So yeah, it's going to be a really fun Saturday this week.
Yeah. There's a lot going on in the country this week. You've got a lot going on at TaylorMade too. I want to give you a chance to talk about that as well. I know tours is something that you guys are really putting a lot of priority in this year. If you want to share kind of about that.
Yeah. So, you know, we've been kind of dabbling in tours for 10 years, and it, you know, we kind of, the big beast of TaylorMade is selling horses and raising horses and doing all of that. So we kind of kicked tours out, made it its own little business, so it's not distracting the big TaylorMade machine. And you know, a lot of really fun stuff's happened. You know, we've had Griffin Johnson's come out a couple of times, and he's I think he just, I don't know, maybe he likes us because we're approachable or whatever, and we let him get in here and do crazy things. But you know, he's completely into it and wants to learn every single thing he can out at the farm. So that's been really fun, and we've had a lot of just fans.
Have you had him muck stalls yet, though?
He mucked a stall. He saw foaling. Yeah, he got to lead a mare out and turn her out.
Respect.
Frank,
okay.
My God, Frank got him over at Dan James's and rearing up a horse, like riding a horse and rearing it up. But if you ask Frank about it, he's going to show you the picture of himself riding the horse that's rearing up, not Griffin. So, you know, he's like kind of living vicariously through him. So,
but yeah, I mean, can I sign up for this? Like,
yeah. I mean, it's crazy. We have a group called the Blue Hens that are coming out next month because Griffin's coming to do 2 days of tours at TaylorMade, and he's going to be the tour guide. And they're a bunch of, you know, older, distinguished ladies, Blue Hens, that are coming out here and, you know, spending a day hanging out with Griffin. So it's going to be amazing. I can't wait to be a fly on the wall in that tour. But yeah, I mean, really what we're just trying to do is the exact same thing you guys are trying to do, is like, horses are amazing and we love them and our whole lives revolve around them, and people don't know, like we're trying to like share the good news of like how awesome horses are and all the things that they do. And I mean, you guys have done so much covering stable recovery and the way horses are changing lives there. And I mean, we just really want to make it where everybody in the world can come out to a horse farm and like get the magic Kool-Aid that we're all drinking, because it's like the reason I get up in the morning. It's awesome. So yeah, I mean, it's hard. Like getting onto a horse farm is not that easy. So we just want to make it as easy as possible and get as many people out here as we possibly can, and you know, really tell the real story of horse racing and the real story of horse lovers, not, you know, what people have been told or perceive or anything else. So, you know, it's a labor of love. It's an industry of love, and we all love the horses that we're around. So yeah, we're really excited. I think we're opening up Diamond A, which is out right by all the big, you can see Woodford Reserve's bar, like aging barns or warehouses or from the back of from the Stein complex. So, I mean, it's right there. Like 60,000 people a year go down those country roads to visit Woodford Reserve. So, we're hoping we can take some of those bourbon lovers and get them over here to learn about some horses. And, if they ask us for handicapping tips, we'll send them your way. So
that was great. I think the accessibility that you're providing people is really awesome and something that we need, because you're right. Like, the second you go and you have a hands-on experience with a horse, they're really powerful animals, and it changes something in you, and it sucks you into this little world. And so I think it's awesome, and we're excited to help get people out to the farm.
Yeah. And one thing, so hopefully we'll see you guys out at Keeneland, but one thing that we're offering too is, like, I know you've got a bunch of race fans, but we do a day at the races out there. And people can come, they do a farm tour of TaylorMade in the morning. They get a handicapping class with a former jockey that is one of our band of brothers out here. And then we take them out to the races, and we have clubhouse seating and everything else. And then Will Walden's gracious enough to let us come and visit him on the backside sometimes, and we get to go in the paddock and do all sorts of fun stuff. So, if you're, people that are wanting like the behind the scenes at Keeneland sort of thing, that's like, we're trying to get that too, because that's the funnest day in the world. Keeneland's the best. And it's like, spring meet at Keeneland is, I don't know, it's my favorite time. It means the cold weather's over. We can get on with it.
I know, right? Maddie, have you been to Keeneland, Maddie?
No, I'd love to come. You're really selling this for me. Like,
you'll be coming now. I mean, Breeders' Cup's out at Keeneland.
Wait, do I recall that you haven't been to Breeders' Cup either?
No.
Okay, now you got a 2-for-1 this year.
Exactly. And you can be on the live stream during the November sale.
We have been talking about it, because
they have the new beautiful facilities that
oh my gosh, it's amazing. Have you guys been in there?
I have not been inside. I've been outside of it.
We went, they had a big event. We all went through. I mean, it is unbelievable. It looks like it's always been there. Like, they've done such a good job, but it's beautiful. And I don't know, the rooftop bar looks like the best place in the world to be. It looks so awesome.
The stone, the metal,
unbelievable.
Yeah, it's like you can't tell it's new, but in the best kind of way. Yeah. So
I love that they kept the aesthetic, because I've been going to Keeneland since I was a little girl, and it's always been that castle in the field to me. So
well, we're a week away, so I think it's exciting times. But before we get there, we got to get through this weekend, which it's not really get through it. It's an exciting weekend with Dubai World Cup and everything. But Katie, thank you so much for joining us.
Katie.
Of course. Thanks for asking me. It was lots of fun. All right. Happy betting. See you all later.
Thanks so much.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Katie Taylor, TaylorMade, she's amazing. And really cool. When I was planning guests for the show, I wanted to kind of get a smattering of people around the industry who are involved in this big day in so many different ways. So I hope everybody enjoyed that. But let's get a little more. Let's dig a little more into the Dubai World Cup. Talk about the contenders. We've got some replays to share. I've got last year's Dubai World Cup on the screen now with Hit Show who's returning. So Maddy, Ren, thoughts on all the contenders heading in to Saturday?
Well, first off, I'll say Ren mentioned it earlier on about last year being full of upsets. I mean, this was the upset of all upsets. 66-1 Hit Show. I had not heard of this horse at all in the run-up to the Dubai World Cup. And yeah, it was a strange kind of running of the race. We know Forever Young was beaten in third. It didn't really seem to have any massive excuses. And this was a huge performance from Hit Show. And I know Frankie Dettori was on the runner-up there, and we were all like, we weren't expecting him to perform either. But yeah, it's going to be interesting seeing Forever Young is clearly much better than that performance. We saw that in Saudi last time. He looks back to where he was. And, you know, the Breeders' Cup Classic for him was another sensational win. He's just a once-in-a-lifetime horse. Here's his Saudi Cup win. And he just seems very versatile, very straightforward horse to ride these days, you know, not too far off the pace, but he's just got that sustained stretch run, and horses just can't live with him. I mean, we've got the great form here. Tumbarumba is a horse you might talk about there and behind in the red cap. But he's just such a powerful finisher. We saw that in the Breeders' Cup too. And he is on his own in terms of stature in this field, but there are some really interesting contenders against him.
Yeah. Well, to your point, though, this is a horse that you root for, not just because. When you look at his earnings, what does he won? He's won, I think, 10 million in earnings so far, and the first year is 12.
For Forever Young?
Yes.
I think, and I could be wrong, but I think if he wins, he will become the richest thoroughbred ever, right? Like he'll pass Rebels Romance in earnings. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'd have to double check. I mean, a lot of these purses now are so huge, especially a lot of the Japanese races, and so I'd have to. So I can't say for sure, but it sounds about right. I mean, the thing with this horse though that is so compelling, and I keep bringing that word up in this show, is just the form, and that he's danced every dance. And when you take it back again to the UAE Derby. And then he comes to our Kentucky Derby, and he's in that stretch duel, and the bravery he showed. And so here's a horse who shipped all, he's globe-trotting doing this. And we discussed earlier when Matthew was on about how a lot of horses, they ship, they get sick, this happens, they get a setback of some other kind. He ships, he runs. In that stretch in the Derby, I've been so impressed with how he will take abuse. Like he and Sierra Leone were bumping the heck out of each other all down the stretch in the Kentucky Derby. And that is a long stretch and a long time to take on that type of stride upset. And for him to still be in the mix of that photo finish there, going the demanding 1.25 miles as a 3-year-old was so impressive on its own. Then what he did after the fact in coming to our Breeders' Cup Classic, and Sierra Leone wins that one, and then he turns the table on him in 2025, and they're cousins, which just is sort of mind-boggling on top of it. What he did in the Saudi Cup last year with Romantic Warrior, I think took a lot out of him. And as we discussed earlier, I would have thought, as Isabella brought up, that, I mean, not that Nisos was easy to deal with either, but you would think it was not quite as demanding. And so maybe he's coming in with a little more, less taxed. But again, I keep going back to this quote, and again, I might have misunderstood it, but I thought he said that he get a bit lazy. But from what I'm seeing with how he looks in the flesh, how he's training up to this, he looks extraordinary. This is his race to lose.
I think also, has he been there pretty much since Saudi? So while some of these might have had disruptive preparations and, with what's going on in that part of the world, not knowing whether they're going to travel or not, he's never really had those doubts. And having been on track and saw him last year, yes, it's an incredibly demanding thing to get a horse to travel and peak every time. But his connections, Yoshito Hagi's an absolute pro at that. And also the horse thrives off it. He looks incredible wherever he seems to go. I have got that slight about him. Yeah, exactly. I have got that slight concern over what happened last year, but as you say, he was coming off the back of a really tough battle. He's going to have to be near to his best to see off this opposition. Don't get me wrong. I think there are some horses in there that are really peaking, and that's what's going to make it really interesting. But he's just a superstar. Horses like him don't come along very often, and I can't wait to see what he does.
They don't. They really don't. I pulled up on Equibase's earnings page. So Romantic Warrior is just under 32.5 million, and Forever Young is at 29, just under 29.5.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm pretty sure Romantic Warrior is the all-time leading earner. But
this could very well change that this weekend, where he could take that top spot. So it's not that this doesn't come around very often. It just doesn't happen. Horses like this are just unreal. And seeing him, I was lucky enough to, I guess now I've seen him run in person 3 times with
that's awesome.
Derby, Breeders' Cup, and then in Saudi Arabia in February. And it really is just like you get chills. The horse has a presence. He knows he's him. We know he's him, and he knows he's him, and it's really, really cool to see. So I'm cheering for Forever Young.
Still only a 5-year-old. Like he could have years left of doing this if we're lucky enough. I mean, it seems like he's been around forever because obviously he was on the UAE Derby kind of trail, on the Kentucky Derby trail. Just horses don't do what he's done. He's just rewriting what's possible.
I'm just looking now for this quote that I saw, and here. I think I'm finding it. So this is from the Dubai Racing Club, and let's see here. Just making sure I've got the right article. And by the way, I will also say, and hey, happy for our connections that I know of Hit Show when he won the Dubai World Cup. But it was, I think as a fan, it was a little shocking, obviously, to see Forever Young run third that day. And so it is cool to see that he's come back and, it's unfinished business here, right? So to speak. But yeah, they asked Mr. Yahagi about the rain, and, as far, I'm trying to see here. I'm looking for the actual quotes because, there's always the good paragraphs that lead up to it. Let's see here. This came out today, I believe. Yes, this morning. He talked about yesterday's. Yeah, Yahagi is more concerned about the prospect of rain between now and post time. He said yesterday's gallop wasn't a hard piece of work as we consider the track conditions. It was a light piece of work, so he's in very good condition. He goes on to say it's a small field, excuse me, not very, but it's a small field and it is competitive as it always is. I'm particularly concerned at the moment that I don't want to see it raining heavily on Saturday. Definitely not. And it goes on. So again, it says, again, Yahagi defied conventional wisdom when he asked whether a more straightforward win in the Saudi Cup helps Forever Young this time around. And he says, it's actually not helping, to be honest, said Yahagi. A shorter gap is easier to manage and maintain his condition. He can get too relaxed. While this year, the Saudi Cup wasn't a hard race. So I guess it's a bit of a balance. So,
I mean, that makes sense, right? It's, you heard Isabella talking and Gab talking about every trainer has different methods of preparing their horses, and it's not who's the best horse, it's who's the best horse who's fit and ready at the right time, right? So, and that's, I can't imagine. I'm not a trainer, I'm not a horsewoman, so I can't imagine like what everything that goes into that to make sure your horses are peaking at the right time. Other than
it's such a balancing act.
Who do we think could make a competitive wager, either if you think it could be B or maybe underneath as some exotic plays, exactas, trifectas?
I put my hand up to volunteer to go first.
You go for it.
This isn't my selection. I'll go into my selection in a minute, but I am so interested to see how Meydan runs because in the UK, very familiar with him as a sort of group horse, group 3 horse on the turf, mile and a quarter, mile and a half. He was very good. Then he went to Australia. He finished 10th in the Melbourne Cup. I really fancied him for the Melbourne Cup. Just couldn't perform that day. Won back at Meydan on the turf on his first start this campaign. Then was third in the Al Khail Trophy to Sunway. And then the Crisfords switched him to the dirt in the Al Maktoum Classic. And who could have expected that sort of performance? He beat Walk of Stars by 5 lengths. And he's got that lovely knee action, and you just think, gosh, should they have been doing this all along? We all thought, maybe, the 10 furlongs is not going to be a long enough trip for him. It was, and he made it look really, really easy. Just an absolutely incredible performance that's put him right in the picture for this race. I think if it does rain, he'll be one of them that will definitely be suited by it. He has that really sharp knee action, loves getting into the ground. So I'm excited to see him for sure. But one horse who I would mention sort of in the place markets or finish runner-up potentially to Forever Young, who I fancied last year and he finished last. So that's not very good. But that's Imperial Emperor. And he did have an excuse that day because he was...
Which horse is it?
Imperial Emperor. Bupat Seymour trains him. He was sent off 4-1 last year, so he was quite well fancied. I only realized earlier that he finished lame that day, so there was a legitimate excuse there. But before that, he won his Group 2, the Al Maktoum Classic, the race I was just talking about with Meydan, super impressively. This year, he's come back and it's like nothing ever happened to him. He won the Al Maktoum Mile really dominantly. And then last time out in the Al Maktoum Challenge, beat a really strong field with Tumbarumba, who obviously we know brings that Saudi Cup form in there. Heart of Honor, who's bringing the 3-year-old form from last year. And I just think this horse is peaking now again after last season. He's not really had the chance to properly show what he can do yet. And I think he's just a very uncomplicated, very straightforward horse who he's got a decent draw in 7. He can sit fairly handily, and I can just see him absorbing the pace and running on really, really strongly. And he's a really big price as well. I mean, here in the UK, I'm seeing best odds of 14-1. I mean, that's a really generous price for a horse that, you know, is based in the UAE. We know handles the course and distance as good as most of these. And I'm looking forward to seeing how he runs for sure.
Yeah, and he beat Commissioner King. He won a Group 3 over there. The Burj Nahar.
Yeah, his form's really, really strong. Like I say, Tumbarumba was the one last time that I thought was a very good, solid performance that put up a Racing Post rating of 119. That was a joint career best for him. Previously, it was the Al Maktoum Classic the year before. So I just think he's coming into this race in great shape. You've not got to worry about any of the traveling. You've not got to worry about the track or the trip or anything like that. And I just think he hasn't been able to show what he's capable of. So for a minor place, I think Imperial Emperor is going to put in a big run, and hopefully all goes to plan this time and I'm not the bad omen.
No, I'm boring. I think this runs through Forever Young at magnitude second. He's just, that horse has come into form magnificently, and he's obviously got the pedigree. I love the way he's coming into the race. I love his following sort of the same pattern as Gun Runner coming out of the Razorback. He's already beaten last year's Dubai World Cup winner. So
Steve Asmussen just seems like a wonderful trainer as well. Like, I'm a big admirer of everything he's achieved. And he, like you say, he's been here with Gunrunner, who was second to Arrogate. That wasn't too bad.
No, if you're going to run second, and then look what Gunrunner ended up doing. He ended up putting together a 5-race win streak, all those grade ones, the Classic, the Pegasus World Cup. He's just outstanding animal himself. So,
well, I want to share some of the footage of these horses that we've been talking about. If you're like a physical handicapper and you're curious how these horses are doing heading into the week, I know we heard Isabella talking about Forever Young, how she does think he looks better than he did at Saudi. He's looking better every day, which is really cool. But here's some footage of Forever Young this week. Go ahead.
He's a cool horse. When I was there last year and we got up in the morning ahead of the breakfast that they do trackside, it was so cool to see all the press, international press, people, again, from just all these different countries crushing against the rail to get a picture of him.
I mean,
he's so famous. He's huge.
Yeah, he's the most famous. We just put a reel out on America's Best Racing's Instagram and our social channels. Like, check out the most famous horse in the world, because he is. I mean, he's just incredible. Here's last year's winner, Hit Show, trying to run it back. This was really but I mean, it looks incredible.
I'm not a huge fan of draw reins. I personally, because a lot of times they can be misused. It looked fine there, so not knocking that exercise rider. I'm just saying in general, sometimes they can pull the horse's neck too far behind the vertical, which then can cause a little hitch in the giddy up, so to speak. So I've never been a huge fan of when they're used, but he was staying on vertical there. It looked to me, at least in that clip. So he looks beautiful. He looks like put a horn on him and he's a unicorn out there. And it's kind of
gray like that. And just,
it's funny because last year, Matt, before the horses left the paddock, he goes, he's like, that horse looks looks really good. And Matt is not a visual handicapper. He's not. He's like, that horse looked really good. And he looked up this hit show.
You got it.
And so when the horse won, he's like, I picked a horse based on looks.
That's hard to do. That is really hard to do. I will say I'm not a physical handicapper. Every now and then I see one and I'm just like, wow, that horse.
It happens. But they can fool you. They can fool you.
But I will say most of the time, if I'm just like utterly shocked by a horse's appearance, they win because I'm not that good at looking at it. So they must look really, really good to like be like, whoa. And then here's Heart of Honor as well.
He's grown up a lot, Heart of Honor, from what I have garnered from Jamie and the people around the horse. It's sad that he's not been able to grow up enough to take that additional step forward. But if he puts it all together, he can run home really strong. And we have seen Dubai World Cups end like that. You know, last year was a bit of an example where horses came from right off the pace. My first Dubai World Cup was with the Japanese horse who won, Ushba Tesoro, and that was very similar. So he will need that sort of race and Forever Young to underperform to come into the equation, but he could.
Yeah. Anything can happen, right? Anything can happen. And even if we've got all these really strong favorites. So you might be able to play a skinnier pick ticket, you know, where you're singling on a couple and spreading in some of the more difficult races. I think the UAE Derby is going to be hard. But yeah, and then if you don't feel like the multi-leg, the parlays, if you want to say races are the best bets on with such standout favorites, and you can play inside the race, you know, with your exactas, trifectas, and supers. So, all right, guys, I think we've done it. I think we've previewed the Dubai World Cup day. Any final thoughts? Best bets of the day that we haven't covered, or that you want to reiterate before we head out?
As of this recording, I still have no past performances. So I'm not going to saddle anybody with a pick based on just my own recollections of past, runnings or the their spidey sense. What's my pedigree sense? Whatever that.
I don't know. You got good spidey senses.
Because I'm not averse to going against the chalk if at all possible, but I need to be able to really sniff it out, sleuth it out. And I can't do that until I have all my data in front of me. But I will say, as a fan, I am so excited about this card. And for a number of reasons. I was just thinking about, as we're going over some of these horses, the longevity of their careers.
Yeah.
And in a time where we do see a lot of horses retire early, it's so nice to see a card like this where you see these horses still going strong, still looking to continue that storyline, because it makes it so much easier to go along for the ride when there's actually a journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly that. Just on that, I was talking about other performances. Me being a Brit, obviously want to talk about the turf races. The Alpros will be really fascinating. Rievka's quite an interesting one in there, I think. I don't think she was quite prepared in the race she ran in last time. Really big upset in that race. But very interesting. And also the Dubai Turf. I spoke about Ombudsman earlier on. You talk about longevity. Great that he's back for another year. He was sensational last season. Okay, he came up short in the Champion Stakes to Calandagan. So we're going to see both those two on this card. But he is more of a 10 furlong horse, I think. And what he did in the Juddmonte International was spectacular last year. And the Prince of Wales Stakes, he's a real standout. As far as best bets go, I think Al Rifa in race 3, the Dubai Gold Cup, it's quite a big field, but in terms of class, I think he is comfortably above the next best horse in the market. So I'd be interested in any odds against about him. And then I think it was in the Ombudsman race. Let me just find it quickly. The Dubai Turf. Yeah, I think Al Najm could run all right for a place. This horse was campaigned at a sort of lower level in the UK when he was with William Haggas, but he's moved to Michael Costa now. His last 2 runs, he's won at Meydan, a Group 2 in the Al Fahadi Fort, and then the Group 1, both over the Group 3, sorry, the Ras Al Khor last time, both over the 7 furlongs. Looking forward to seeing him back up in trip. He's got that stamina in his pedigree, courtesy of his sire, See the Stars. And again, I think often in these races you want, as mentioned earlier, the right horse at the right time. And El Najm, big price. He's about 20 to 1 here in the UK to place and finish behind Ombudsman. I'd be quite interested in those odds.
Awesome.
Love it.
Love it. Thank you for all the
Sorry, I
betting
took over
tips.
for a minute.
No, that's great. We love the juicy betting tips at good odds and good prices for everybody. Just one last reminder to head on over to NYRA Bets to place all your wagers. Sign up today and get a $200 deposit match with NYRA Bets. Get involved with all of the international racing action on Dubai World Cup Day. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime with NYRA Bets. So again, a really good promotion they've set up for Dubai World Cup. You can scan the QR code right next to Ren's face. Other way.
Well, for me, it's right here. So I'll go here. Is it here? Because for me, it's here.
So maybe
Go ahead.
We'll find out. There you go. Away. Awesome. All right.
We'll find out who had it.
Whoever has it, scan it. Wherever it shows up on your screen.
Just put it over here. Like, there you go. And then
There we go. Now we want to see your beautiful face. All right.
know.
Ren, Maddy, thank you. This has been really fun, really insightful. Thanks to all our guests.
Next
Matt,
year on site.
Matt. We've had all the Maddies and Matts on.
know.
So yeah, thanks everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Yalla Habibis.
There we go. All right. We'll catch you next time. Thanks everybody.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you.